Hey guys, today I'm so excited. We are here with the Wayne Salmons. He is a realtor, a coach, a mentor, and a high demand speaker and CEO of Hero Nation. I am so excited you're here today.
Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
Oh, I'm so excited. So I really want to start at the beginning and kind of talk about how you got into real estate.
So I got into real estate kind of the messy way, as most people. I love asking that question, right? Because nobody got into real estate normally. Okay. Like nobody went to school. For, well, two people went to school for this. So I had gone up to Alaska one summer to work because I thought that would be fun. And who knows? But I went up there to Alaska one summer to work and ended up working in construction. Ended up starting my own construction company, home building, and I thought that would be great until I realized it's like winter all the time. And I remember one day we were out when we were working on this home, and I literally remember like I could drive to the house to this day because it was so painful. And we're putting up this siding on the home, and I remember that I hit my thumb with this 20-ounce hammer. And I just remember like the pain of hitting your thumb when it's -10 is just a special spiritual kind of experience. And I realized like I'm going to do something different with my life than be cold for the next 50 years. So I wanted to get into real estate investing. So I thought if I get my real estate license, that'd be a good way to get in. I remember I got my license. Actually, I tried to go to a couple different offices, and most of them laughed at me. They're like, "You're this young punk kid. Like real estate is not for you." I still remember their names. And they're like, "Nope, it's not for you." So I was a hot mess. Like to no fault to them. I was a total mess. And I went on. I started selling a couple houses here, a couple houses there, but not enough to actually make a living. So I was doing construction and kind of like real estate at the same time. So a lead would come in, I'd answer the phone, and I'd like write down a little piece of like 2x4 that was laying around. I'd put my suit on, I'd go to a house, I'd come back, put my tool bag back on. At the end of the day, I would walk into my office I'd go to my office late at night, right, when I was done construction, and I would have a stack of leads. They were all these like 2x4 blocks. And I remember someone one day asked me like, "Why is there always sawdust in your office?" And I didn't really want to let them know that like I come in here at 10 o'clock at night and go through my leads from the day that I wrote down when I was hanging rafters. So that's how I got in. Fortunately, it got a little bit better, but it was a hot mess in the beginning.
So tell us kind of how you honed your skills in real estate.
So I think one of the great things is, my dad taught me at least to be coachable, right? He said, you'll never be a great leader unless you can follow and listen well. And I remember that I eventually read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, which was amazing. So I joined Keller Williams' office and finally got kind of a mentor and a coach. And I remember I called him one day and I just said, I can't do this. Like, I'm not making enough money. I don't know what to do. And he said, he gave me this challenge. He said, I'll support you and help you if you make this commitment. And I said, all right, what's the commitment? He said, you have to commit to taking 10 listings a month for the next 6 months. And if any month you take less than 10, you owe me $1,000.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that may have been $100,000 at the moment. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have $1,000.
Right.
And I said, well, I don't know what to do. And he said, well, I'll help you, but like you got to make the commitment. And I said, well, all right, like I'm in. Like I'll do it. So I made this commitment, and I just asked him. I said, well, now what do I do? And he said, I don't care what you do, just go get 10 listings. And I was like, what do I do? Like your side of the deal was like, don't know what to do. And I'll never forget. He told me it all works if you work it. And what he meant by that was there's all these different options. I think especially as agents, sometimes we're looking for like the magic pill or what's the thing, or we hear about this widget or whatever it is. And he taught me, at an early point in my career that it all works if you work it. I went out there and I door knocked, and I wore long-legged underwear underneath my suit. I door knocked because I didn't have any money either, right? So I door knocked. I would make cookies every Sunday night, and I would drop them off to businesses on Monday morning, and go make connections. And I did the work, right? But I knew that for every 85 houses I knocked on, I knew I would get a transaction over time.
Right.
So I needed to knock on like 400 houses a month. Like I had to do the work, and it wasn't beautiful, but I got it done.
I love it. So how did you know that coaching was your calling?
So after hitting rock bottom, years ago, so I was doing really well. Then I totally nailed rock bottom, and as I started to get back up, people would ask me to teach and share kind of what I had learned, things like that. And I was like, I'm not the guy, but like I'll share my story. And I remember it came to a point where I was coaching. I kind of gone on and was coaching for Keller Williams. And it came to a point where I had to choose. I was either going to continue with real estate, or I was going to go like full time into this coaching and speaking and thing. And I had to really sit with myself and figure out what do I really like? What do I really want? What's my why? And at the deepest level, it was helping other people transform their lives fast. And it was hard to give up real estate. Actually, it was like I loved it and I enjoyed it, and at that point I was good at it. But that's when I kind of made the decision. That is when I made the decision to go full time into coaching and speaking, and it's been a wild ride.
So share with us like the basic options of Hero Nation coaching.
Yeah. So, I mean, first off, I believe, like, especially everybody we work with, they're phenomenal people. They can totally do it on their own. It's just by working with us, they're able to do it faster with fewer bruises. So I think a lot of times people look at, there's some coaches out there that kind of look be like, you need me, you're broken, I'm here to save you. Like, I don't believe in any of that. I think that our clients are phenomenal. But by us working together, they get their results. Hey, here's my 5-year goal. We're able to do that in a year or a year and a half by working together than doing it on their own. So we have two options. We have group coaching, which is kind of like build the foundation, ramp up, get a consistent 6 figures going on in your life. And so we do group calls, and then they're part of a small group pod. So they have a coach that's working with them. And then we have one-on-one coaching, which is where we roll up our sleeves one-on-one and we figure out where we want to go, how we're going to get there, and build the bridge.
So can you share a few tips for realtors that are brand new that they should be focused on to really grow their business?
So I think for new agents especially, the challenge is the shiny object.
Absolutely.
Right. So there's shiny objects. Plus, there's like 1,000 things you got to do. Right. It's like, what should I be an S corp? Should I be an LLC? I got to hire people. I got to get the flyers made. Right. There's all these things going on. Right. So I think for new agents, the ones that are, let me say it this way, the ones that are the most successful in the beginning are the ones that do a couple things. First off, they decide the 1 or 2 things they're going to do really well. Right. So is that they need 2 or 3 different funnels, I call them. Their database. Whether is it door knocking, is it internet leads, is it social media marketing? There's all these different options, but we're going to narrow down. We're going to pick 2 and knock those out of the park, and then we're going to ignore the other 48 options that are out there, which is really hard because they all look shiny and easy and everything. Right. But we've got to pick 1 or 2 and then knock those out of the park. And then make sure that we're really clear on what are our musts for the week. What are the key activities we got to get done throughout the week. And then, like you were saying earlier, like you get the systems and processes and tools. And the nice thing is our clients are able to copy and paste a lot of those and not start from scratch, and go through it. But I think for new agents, it's really get clear on those handful of things, and then fall in love with the art of sales. I remember one of my mentors actually who wrote the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, Dave Jenks, said this is rocket science. Like it's complicated, right? Like there's a lot to it. So fall in love with the craft and getting good at it. And that'd be the big advice.
I'm a big fan for anyone who is new or shifting into real estate. I am a big proponent of the daily to-do list, of making all of my priorities that I have to get done for that day. And then, of course, utilizing or leveraging your CRM. So that could be, who you need to call that day, what things you need to follow up on, making sure that you're checking all your contract deadlines. So keep that in mind. That's a great option. I'm a paper planner person for that reason, as well as my digital calendar. So you are a well-known speaker, and please share some of your preferred topics that you really enjoy sharing, when you're on the big stage.
I think the big ones are, I'm a big, one of my beliefs is, I don't really believe in inspiration. I believe in empowerment. Right. So just like you, and by the way, you're an incredible speaker. I cannot wait to see you on a whole lot more stages, by the way. It's awesome. For me, it's all about empowerment, right? I want to, in my presentation, I want to invoke, people to take action, right? I want them to see things differently. I want to ask them powerful questions, but I really want to give them some tools that they can go use when I'm not there anymore, right? I think inspiration wears off as soon as you hit the door sometimes, but empowerment sticks. So we talk about a couple of things. A big one we've talked about lately is like, this isn't my recession, right? Like other people, right? Like other people go through it. Like I'm not going to go through it. Here's what I've got to do. So we go through like the 7 decisions you got to make to go through this really, really well. And then we talk about, I talk about, in my book, like the art of getting back up. We talk about, how to be resilient, and not just in rainbows and butterflies, but like what to actually do. Like here's the tools to kind of put in your toolbox to recover when you have a bad day or recover when you have a hard time. So really, helping for lack of a better term, help people pack parachutes. You know what I mean? So they're ready for all that we encounter going through this.
When you have that kind of impact on people, the very first time for me, it was overwhelming. I got a standing ovation the very first time I ever spoke.
Of course you did, by the way. Of course you did. Yes.
I spoke at a national conference, and they asked me to give a 10 or 15 minute speech, and I wrote it from my heart. I didn't really know what else to do.
Yeah.
And literally, the video says it all. A friend of mine was videotaping me, and from the audience, and my face says it all. But I was just I thought, okay, everyone's just gonna, and they stood up and like cheered, and were just like, oh, and I was like, you could see it in my face,
That's
the whole
amazing.
surprise. So that was my very first experience. And when you get that feeling, and then afterwards, people shaking my hand and thank you for the words, and there is no other, I can't even put it into words how I felt. So I was, that was the day that I realized, like, there might be a little bit of something there.
Absolutely, yes, 100%, yes.
When, there's 250 people in the room, and they all stand up and cheer. So yeah, that was quite a moment for me that I will definitely.
Well, and I think your vulnerability is what's so huge, right? Because I think for you, like when you're vulnerable that way and you just speak from the heart, it's so liberating to other people.
Yes.
When you're like, I'm real, here's my stuff, like the good, the bad, the indifferent, and like seeing you liberate other people and having that kind of response is incredible.
Yeah, that was quite a surprise for me. So I want to talk about how Hero Nation has expanded into speaking training, which is so exciting. Something I've definitely benefited from. Can you share how you knew you wanted to kind of expand into speaking training?
So the reason I wanted to expand into like teaching people how to speak and going into that training was I had so many clients that had these beautiful stories or these beautiful messages, whatever it is, and I wanted them to share those with the world, right? So it came from a place of like me looking at my clients and going like, I want people to hear, like I don't want to be the only person that hears this, you know what I mean? And people like you that have these amazing stories and yet we're not on stage, and I realized that so many of them they either had fear or they didn't know how to write their talk. Like there's all these barriers in the way, and for most of us, I see this happen all the time. I was talking to one of my clients this morning who's a doctor, and because she's an amazing doctor, people just think, okay, she also let's have her come speak. And she is a great speaker, but like nobody taught her how to do that. And most of us learn by trial and error, and it's incredibly painful. Mm-hmm. So it's like I realized that if I could help people learn what took me 2 decades to learn, that would be really, really empowering.
So can you kind of share some of the basics of your speaking coaching as far as what if someone is watching and they're interested in doing your coaching, your speaking coaching training?
So really, it's a couple of different parts, but one of the pieces is how do I craft a talk? How do I write a talk that helps people, that evokes, like what is that? And there's actual ways to do that. That we lay it out in a certain way that it's simple to get all that out of your head and onto paper. And we have a process that we teach. Then we also teach people like how to get on stage, how to deal with their fear, how to move their body, how to use their inflections, all that stuff. And then we actually do videos and pictures of them on stage so they look the part as well. But it's so cool to have a controlled environment where they can get on stage, know how to write their talk, present their talk, get some good feedback on that, and feel more empowered than most people feel after doing 50, 100 presentations. So we're able to do that in a small amount of time.
So I'm excited to say we've got another speaking, Take the Stage coming up. Can you share that information for everyone?
Absolutely. March 27th and 28th here in Dallas. And it's 2 days, and we get right after it. So, and even if someone you want to get better at presenting, whether it's to a group of 5 or 10 people, or you want to get on stage, and speak in front of thousands, this applies to both. So it's about being able to be able to present your ideas, invoke action, and I think everybody should get great. It's a life skill that it's phenomenal to get good at.
So guys, I really want to share with you my own personal experience with the Take the Stage coaching. When I first walked into that room, I didn't have any kind of core idea as to how to get my thoughts out on the paper properly, as well as present it in a way that was seamless. And I also had, believe it or not, for those of you who know me, I did have some self-confidence issues about actually going out and working the stage. And those things were overcame. I learned the processes of getting my thoughts down as well as conveying the message. and then learning how to actually physically, and there are techniques to physically working a stage that I had no awareness of, and then gaining that confidence to know that I can convey this message and captivate an audience, hold their attention for however long I'm supposed to be up there is really key to being a successful speaker, and I learned that trait. I'm very, very fortunate that I had the opportunity. If you come to the next event, I will definitely see you there.
I'm so excited you're coming. You come just to listen to this one. Holy cow, absolutely.
I'm super excited to be there. But I want to thank you so much for joining us today. It means a lot to me. I know you're super busy and you took time out of our day to get this for us. And thank you so much again. You guys, if you're looking for more amazing content just like this, make sure you're clicking the subscribe button. Here at DFW Home Finds, we will catch you next time.